Look, what did it take for us to get to the point of an apology? We had to threaten a lawsuit, Jesse. And by the way, we're still entertaining it. We're talking to some of the best lawyers out there that are experts in this. And as you know, these things can be very complicated. There's a lot of facts and circumstances around it. But we're not going to let this go, because you should not be able to smear 5,000 high school and college kids and then just be able to walk away with it. And the reason they felt they needed to do that, Jesse, is because if they told their audience the truth, that when gas is the most expensive it's been, flights are super expensive, that 5,000 kids decided to spend a weekend in summer traveling across the country to go hear from conservative speakers, maybe the audience of The View would think twice about all of their ideas. That's why they felt so compelled to try to smear our wonderful summit this last week.
What happens when Charlie Kirk drops a $100 million lawsuit on The View and Sunny Hostin completely loses her grip live on national TV? You don't get a debate. You get a full-blown soap opera with subpoenas, a courtroom thriller, a midday meltdown, and accidental stand-up comedy all smashed into one scandalous mess. As Sunny starts unraveling on air, Whoopi's throwing looks sharp enough to cut glass. And Charlie? He's out here painting himself as the true victim of verbal violence. Meanwhile, the audience is just trying to keep up with who's yelling, who's crying, and who's lawyering up, and spoiler alert, it ain't the attorneys who break first.
Charlie Kirk's the founder and CEO of Turning Point USA and the author of the new book, The College Scam. So, Charlie, do you accept The View's apology?
I mean, regardless of whether or not I accept it, the question is, do our students accept it? That's really what's at heart here. They went after our 5,000 students at our event there of high school and college kids. And look, I get attacked all the time. People say false things. I'm a public figure. But when you go after 16 and 17-year-olds that travel from across the country that then have to live for the rest of their life with a shadow over them because someone at ABC says that they might be linked to neo.
Now let's talk about that glorious $100 million lawsuit. Yeah, 100 million. That number's so outrageously large. It doesn't sound like a legal claim. It sounds like Charlie's trying to fund his own Bond villain lifestyle. Think, a private island guarded by MAGA parrots, a roller coaster shaped like his Twitter handle, and a gold-plated escape jet ready to launch the moment the drama goes nuclear. It's not just a lawsuit, it's a performance. A flex. A headline-grabbing stunt designed to rattle daytime TV to its core. And it's working. Because when someone slaps down a number that wild, you're not just watching legal action. You're witnessing an ego explosion big enough to light up Hollywood. And guess who's in the crosshairs of this legal circus? Buckle up. The names involved are just the beginning. The View, that daily chaos factory dressed up as a talk show, is less about real conversation and more like a caffeine-fueled scream fest where logic gets steamrolled by emotion every single time. Forget nuance. If someone even breathes a different opinion, it's treated like a national emergency. What's supposed to be a panel of seasoned thinkers? Nah. It's become a drama club in broad daylight, where celebrity gossip is twisted into fake moral crises, and every political discussion ends in a personal vendetta. They've turned interrupting into an art form, each host battling to outsigh, outglare, and outrage the next.
Disgusting, gross elitism and her complete out-of-touch nature with respect to the rest of the world. Sunny Hostin goes on The View and decides now would be a great time to dump all over the so-called uneducated.
What we did not have is white women who voted about 52%, right, for Donald Trump. Uneducated white women, is my understanding. You have Latino men actually voting more for him. And you have, and black men was not the story. We're not the story here because they voted almost 80% for the vice president.
Imagine a table full of self-declared experts who confuse eye rolls for arguments. Their version of debate? A non-stop avalanche of side eyes, sarcastic claps, and did she really just say that? Gasps that echo louder than the actual facts. It's like watching a live-action meme, except somehow worse. And for years, this echo chamber has run unchecked, peddling overreaction as if it were gospel. But finally, someone stepped in and called the bluff. That someone? Charlie Kirk. He didn't just criticize from the sidelines. He stormed the stage, looked the chaos in the face, and dropped a $100 million legal grenade right in the middle of the set. But here's the kicker. This ain't just about cash. Not even close. This lawsuit isn't just paperwork. It's a big, loud stop right there, aimed straight at the chaos machine. Charlie Kirk isn't just suing The View. He's calling out the whole circus for what it is. A stage full of smug, overhyped nonsense trying to pass itself off as wisdom. This isn't about clout. It's about saying, enough with the fake deep takes and emotional theatrics. Charlie's not fighting a panel of TV hosts. He's confronting a full-blown megaphone of media madness. It's like he grabbed the mic mid-scream and said, "Pipe down."
Just because you didn't go to college doesn't mean you're stupid, and it doesn't mean that you don't have wisdom. You can go to college and get a bunch of irrelevant facts about how men can allegedly give birth or whatever they teach. But I said this to our team. I said working people, the muscular class, including working women, they are so in favor of Trump, and they don't want to be called stupid or uneducated.
This is less of a lawsuit and more of a cultural mic drop. Because what The View has become isn't just annoying, it's dangerous. It's a place where screaming gets mistaken for smarts, and dramatic gasps are treated like policy arguments. And that $100 million number? It's not some ego trip. It's a wake-up slap to the face of an industry that's been running wild with loud ignorance and viral victimhood. Kirk saying, "You don't get to shout misinformation, roll your eyes at real talk, and then call it journalism." He's aiming straight at the heart of the performative outrage economy that daytime TV thrives on. This move might seem bold or even ridiculous, but sometimes you got to throw a chair to stop the spinning. Because honestly, The View doesn't feel like a talk show anymore. It's a midday mess of mismatched prints and recycled outrage, a carousel of catchphrases where opinions are served half-cooked, facts get dressed up like feelings, and moral superiority is the real main course. Somebody had to say it. And this time, that somebody came with a lawsuit and a whole lot of smoke. At the center of this daytime drama buffet is Sunny Hostin, who went from courtrooms to cue cards, swapping legal strategy for spotlight theatrics. These days, she waves that law degree around like it's a trendy accessory, not a serious tool, throwing around legal lingo like it's skincare advice from an influencer, all while sipping coffee and dropping takes meant to go viral, not go deep.
Point conference. The were in the front of turning out there in front of the conference with anti-Semitic slurs, and
I think it's important that every single person that attended that turning point, every Republican speak up against the because against the flags that were waved.
But you let them in.
President, open your
You let them in and you knew what they were.
Right.
So you are complete.
But now, the irony is choking on itself, because Sunny's suddenly neck-deep in a real legal mess. One that requires more than dramatic pauses and pre-scripted sass. And let's skip the usual chorus of, "They're just trying to silence strong women." Nah, this isn't censorship. It's consequence. Just because a show airs at noon doesn't mean it's above the law. Daytime TV loves to play the freedom of speech card, but when that freedom turns into character assassinations wrapped in cute catchphrases, don't be surprised when the legal system comes knocking. This lawsuit? It's not some publicity stunt. It's a straight-up reality check. A demand for receipts from a show that's been running wild with unchecked noise for over a decade. For years, The View has felt like an open mic night for elite opinions, where volume beats truth and dissent gets flattened by fake empowerment. They call it bold commentary, but let's be real, it's been ideological theater dressed up for clout and applause. Nothing's been off limits. Until now.
We begin with a shocking apology just a short time ago from the ladies of The View to Turning Point USA. A war of words broke out after the conservative group was rallying the next generation of voters at its youth summit in Tampa, Florida this weekend. And the liberal panel just couldn't help themselves. The group sent a scathing cease and desist letter after hosts on The View suggested that Turning Point had embraced neo-Nazis who showed up outside the event.
Charlie's move is simple. Stop the performance, face the facts. After years of verbal hidden runs, somebody finally slammed the brakes. No more viral hot takes without responsibility. No more roasting people on national TV without expecting some legal heat in return. The circus ran too long unchecked. Now the ringmaster's being sued. But somewhere between the dramatic pauses and the commercial breaks, the View crew forgot something major. Going live to millions comes with strings and sometimes subpoenas. This ain't some twisted underdog tale or a flipped David versus Goliath saga. It's about a media machine that got too comfortable tossing shade from a plush studio, thinking there'd never be a price to pay. Now, someone like Charlie Kirk is stepping in and yanking the velvet curtain. He's not kicking off a culture war, he's calling time on the nonsense. No more echo chamber. No more applause-triggered immunity. He's doing what a whole wave of fed-up viewers have only dreamed of, demanding the loudest mouths face a dose of real-world accountability. Because in today's world, where clicks beat context and hashtags drown facts, truth can't just be optional. And neither can responsibility. You want to throw out wild accusations live on national TV? Cool. But don't act shocked when someone finally says, "See you in court." So next time the theme song plays and the panel takes their seats, maybe skip the popcorn, grab a legal pad instead. The era of TV hosts talking reckless with no blowback? That might be wrapping up. And honestly, it's overdue.
Let me kind of humble the audience a little bit. Donald Trump won by less than a point in Wisconsin, about 28,000 votes. He won by a point-ish, 1.2 in Michigan. And then he won by 1 point in Pennsylvania. And so, Megyn, it is conceivable that without this record movement of youth vote, he doesn't win.
Let me kind of humble the audience a little bit. Donald Trump won by less than a point in Wisconsin, about 28,000 votes. He won by a point-ish, about 1.2 in Michigan. And then he won by 1 point in Pennsylvania. And so, Megyn, it is conceivable that without this record movement of the youth vote, he doesn't win. Let's be real. This ain't some fragile tantrum. It's a calculated power move. Charlie's flipping the game on a show that's made headlines by tearing into anyone who disagrees. Now, he's forcing them to step out of their comfort zone. No applause. No edit cuts. Just them and the facts in front of a judge. This isn't cancel culture. It's consequence culture. And it just clocked in. It's the moment the loudest voices finally got hit with a pipe down. And the irony? Absolutely chef's kiss. The View, the show that parades around as the holy grail of free speech, is now being told, explain how that free speech works when it's used to drag someone's name through the mud on national TV. Sonny Hostin might want to dust off that law degree because this lawsuit, it's not ego, it's a reckoning with receipts. Cue the panic at ABC headquarters. Legal teams are now poring over old transcripts like they're decoding ancient scrolls, trying to figure out which episode lit the fuse. Producers are scrambling behind the scenes, asking, can we still be spicy without triggering another lawsuit? Meanwhile, the hosts are perched on their velvet thrones, starting to realize courtrooms don't come with a laugh track or a cheering section.
It's amazing. She's specifically there referring to the women, but of course it's the non-college educated men as well who voted for Donald Trump. And the nerve of this woman to whom the country has given so much to try to dump on people who didn't go to college. Look at you. Look at your achievements. How do you like the so-called uneducated now, Sonny?
And let's talk content. For years, The View has been less about insight and more about dramatized moral superiority. Outrage over coffee orders? Check. Full-blown debates about someone's scarf? Double check. It's been a never-ending parade of curated conflict, each segment built to deliver that perfect clip for Twitter, wrapped in smugness and tied with a bow of boldness. Their machine runs on synchronized outrage, eye rolls, head nods, gasps, and applause that's more self-congratulation than audience response. It's been a performance factory, cranking out viral moments like outrage was a product on the shelf. But now they're not facing a trending topic, they're facing a legal timeline. That blinking red camera has been replaced with cold courtroom lighting, and those dramatic monologues? They don't hit the same when the judge's gavel is louder than your mic. The View wanted to play judge and jury for years, until someone showed up with actual legal papers. Suddenly, the high-pitched outrage turns into a chorus of denial, like everyone on that panel just developed selective amnesia. Years of verbal jabs, personal digs, and drive-by smears? Poof. Forgotten. These women turn daytime TV into a weaponized drama zone, serving up character assassinations between foundation ads and collagen promos. They've been handing out hot takes like cafeteria slop, no filter, no facts, just volume. And now Charlie Kirk didn't pull up with a mic. He came in legal guns blazing, armed with subpoenas and court filings. This ain't a revenge rant. It's a strategic checkmate. He didn't just clap back, he filed back.
If a liberal came to speak at University of Kentucky, they'd give an open mic like I just did to a conservative and had a discussion like this.
I certainly hope they would.
No, they wouldn't. Because speech is not a left-wing value. That is why they have to deploy shock troops called Antifa to go after everywhere I go. When I go to University of California, Davis next week, there has to be 120 police officers because of the threats, the violent threats of liberals that want me dead, that want to disrupt our events. There are no right-wing hecklers that come to events.
Let's be real. This isn't just some conservative guy getting salty. This is a targeted hit on a media machine that's been posing as journalism while running on groupthink and glitter. The View has styled itself as a bold platform for truth-telling, but under the hood, it's been a hype machine for smug one-liners and pre-approved opinions. Charlie's lawsuit doesn't just bruise egos, it shreds the illusion. It calls out the system that treats every disagreement like a personal attack, and every dissenting view as a threat that must be shouted into silence. This isn't a tiff with a few hosts. It's a full-on confrontation with a smug empire that forgot conversation means more than coordinated outrage and synchronized gasps. The feathers aren't just ruffled, they're being ripped out by the roots. This isn't just some messy media beef. It's a direct challenge to a whole format that hides behind laugh tracks and trending topics while bullying anyone who dares to think differently. What's happening here isn't a simple courtroom drama, it's a full-on reckoning. Because at some point, even the loudest echo chamber gets confronted by someone who's completely unfazed by the noise. Someone who didn't show up to debate, but to tear down the stage. That $100 million figure? Oh, it's not just a headline number.